Hey there, Taurus. How you doing? So this is the forecast for the 2-week period between the full moon in Scorpio and also the approaching new moon in Gemini on the 27th of May. This is a really strong time given that both of these moons have got a connection with Uranus, the full moon in an opposition to Uranus and the new moon in Gemini in a conjunction with Uranus. Well, why is that important to you? Well, Uranus is in your first house. It's in a really important place in your own sign, in the sign of Taurus. Speaking of, I don't know whether you're watching this because you've got Taurus Sun or Taurus Ascendant. They both work. I get feedback from people who listen to it for their Sun or Ascendant signs, and they all, share how useful it is. But it's also worth knowing that you can also check out the other sign. So if this is your sun sign, check out your ascendant in another sign, and so on and so forth. You'll get a much broader picture. Anyway, with this particular 2-week forecast, the big themes I see coming up are about breaking old patterns. That's across the board, just in general. I really see this as a time of breaking down all the old stuff and internalizing the change that's going on around us and sort of breaking hold the authority or authorities that we feel are impinging on our freedom. There's a really strong need for truth and freedom, especially for you, given that Uranus is in your first house. But there's also Saturn changing signs on the 25th. And that is a big move. You know, Saturn doesn't change very often, I think every 2.5 years, roughly. And so Saturn going into the sign of Aries is a big move. And I've got some advice I want to share with you. I will be doing a separate Saturn forecast, obviously, but this is important. So if you're new to this channel, hi, my name is Louisa Munson, and welcome. If you're coming back for the first, if you're coming back, you've been here before, welcome back. It's great that you liked me enough for some more. So anyway, let's have a look at this forecast. Now, ordinarily, when I do these, I often give a lot of generic information that's for everyone, not just for you, Taurus, but I've chosen this time to put it into a separate video. So normally, if you're expecting the full to new moon, the sort of energy report, we are going through a waning moon forecast. And if you're waiting for this diary layout of the most important dates in this 2 weeks ahead, then you'll see them in a separate video called The Shadow and Shift to Light. Because that's what I really do think is going on. We have this deeply illuminating full moon in Scorpio where a lot of shadow stuff's coming up, and then we are shifting into much lighter, speedier, more synchronous times. There's a lot of shift going on. So if you're wanting those, check out that video. It's also released at the same time. And just before I go any further, I just want to thank everybody that supports this channel in all the different ways that you do. I really appreciate you. It really makes a difference and helps me to do so much more. Really, truly thank you. So anyway, Taurus, let's move on. So these are the 3 charts I'm looking at. The full moon in Scorpio, you'll see the full moon is over there in your 7th house, very much influencing your relationships. And you might find actually that around this time, your partners are a lot more extreme, a lot more emotional, and by response you're a lot more standoffish and wanting to be, I don't know, feel a bit freer, not feel so possibly manipulated. You're really wanting to feel unencumbered by other people's heavy emotions. And then the moon is moving around from here right up to, this is where it's midway between the two on the 20th. That's also the day when the sun goes out of your sign and into the sign of Gemini in your 2nd house. And then as we keep following the moon, you'll see at the time of the new moon, the moon has come all the way down here. Now, what you may also have noticed is that we've got the sun, we've got Mercury and the moon, and they're all crossing Uranus. That's why, one of the reasons why Uranus is so important. And I guess the importance of this forecast is to focus more on the new moon. That's where we're heading right now. And can you see how beautiful and clear this chart is? If I go back to the other two, this looks like a cat's cradle. And, this does look like we're being stretched in many different ways. But as we're coming into this time of new moon, there's a lot of, to me, it looks like all the drag has gone. It just looks like whatever has been holding us back, we've kind of cut the strings of the drag behind us. and it just feels like things are moving. In particular, I really like these lovely strong trine energies. Your ruling planet Venus is in this beautiful trine to Mars the whole way through this 2-week period, and so she's really like sparky here in the sign of Aries, even though it's in your 12th house, which is really bringing out a sense of deepening compassion, a really strong intuition, a real need to feel peaceful in yourself. And then Mars in the part of your home is ready to take action. So whatever you need to create that sense of peace for yourself is being actioned by Mars. I love this. I think it's really, really good. It's a lovely, strong energy indeed. What I want to do is actually pace you through some of the top energies I think are going to help you out. I mean, yeah, which ones should I do? So Venus related ones. Yeah, so the Venus trine Mars is important. And actually Venus, she's not really connecting with anything else, you'll see. She is coming into more of a conjunction with Chiron. And so as she approaches Chiron's right in the end of the last few degrees of Aries now. It's been there for quite a long time. It has most likely brought up a lot of trauma from the past, because this is really a place where we collect all of our memories, all of our sensory reactions to things. Some people say it's our connection to the Akashic records. It's our connection to the all that is. This is a place where we can deeply channel energy and tune in. I think all of our internal programming, this is one of the big spots of our internal programming, in particular self-sabotage. Lots of people talk about the 12th house as being a place where we come undone a little bit. It's where some of our old fears live, our insecurities, and the self-sabotage that's born throughout these. Now with the energy of Chiron in the 12th house, you've had quite a while to get used to the things that maybe you're suffering from, the things that you've maybe felt a little bit of a victim about. And so Venus, as she approaches, and this is your ruling planet, I really think this is helping you get when I say get a grip, I don't mean wake up and get a grip, like straighten up. I actually mean get a handle on the energies of your deepest held self-sabotage. Venus is bringing her compassion. She's bringing in the forgiveness. She's really, really wanting you to open up to it. Now, something else that's quite helpful with Chiron in this particular time, in this particular time frame, is we've got this Chiron and Jupiter sextile. Now, I haven't actually drawn it in, but that's exact on the 18th, the 18th of May. That's Sunday, the 18th. So in roundabout just over a week's time. Now, this is allowing, so you've got Jupiter helping on one side and your ruling planet, Venus, on the other side. This is really helping you to open up your programming and to do something really great with it. Jupiter, as Chiron has gone through your 12th, really helping you to find the little trigger points. Jupiter's been working in your second house, which has everything to do with the abundance in your life, but also how you value yourself. Because if you're abundant, there's a certain maybe an amount that you're being prospered by. And, the more you feel worthy, the more you feel deserving, the more likely you are to get more abundance flowing in, more ease, more resources. So Jupiter has been opening this up. He's been like the warm-up act, really opening this area up for this new moon. But Jupiter's coming to the end of this. He's done a lot. So I really think what's been discovered, I would say between the 18th of May and the 22nd of May, should help you find a lot more peace in yourself. During that time, the sun is also making a sextile to Saturn, really strong, which helps our sense of self. It helps us get a lot more disciplined. So I think there's some real intrinsic change going on between the 18th and the 24th. Now, I just want to mention a couple of other things that I think are absolutely really, really important. And, with this Jupiter sextile Chiron energy that I've been mentioning, I also want to talk about Jupiter's aspects this in this fortnight, because Jupiter is in exactly in a T-square with the North Node and the South Node, in particular on the 15th. This is a time when Jupiter is a little bit trapped in between the two of them. So he's not freely expressing that sense of optimism and bounty and expansion. He's a little bit trapped as to how to expand. And the advice that I think is probably most useful is to recognize where in the past you've stepped forwards to expand, but maybe not being ready to expand, and it's not gone as well as expected. The South Node here is in this sort of 5th house area, which has to do with a lot of your creative endeavors that you've had in life. It might be in terms of having children, raising children, birthing any particular creativity that you've got. Maybe you've tried to work within the realm of your hobby. Could also have a lot to do with romance, because of course, when you meet somebody, you're birthing a new reality together. So any disappointment that you've had from, where you started something that was really dear to you and it didn't really go positively, and where you may have taken the taken the information of it not going well, like you felt so bad about it, about yourself, that it's affected your self-esteem. The 2nd house, it has a lot to do with your self-esteem, like how worthy, how valuable do you feel that you are? And so Jupiter's stuck here. Really, he's saying to be able to move beyond this, you need to start unraveling some of those past disappointments that you've made mean something about yourself. So my big question to you is, how can you let go of those feelings of like being devalued, those feelings of just really not being good enough for your own creations? I mean, that really is kind of where you're you're really, like, often, other people will, maybe indicate when maybe you're not good enough. But like when you decide that you're not good enough because of something you're doing, like something that you've created isn't working and it's your fault, that's a whole load of self-blame. So I do think, these trigger points that Venus is coming up to Chiron, Jupiter's connected to Chiron, and Jupiter is remembering the past. I really think this can be a turning point for you. So again, I really think this 2-week period very much is from like the darkness. I mean, obviously the full moon is a time of brilliant light, but it's quite a dark energy. And coming to the new moon, and obviously in the new moon it is dark, but the new moon is actually full of lightness, in all these airy signs. So yeah, there's some big stuff happening. Now, Pluto obviously made a transition into this part of your chart, the top spot, the part of your career, and how you see yourself in the world, and the legacy that you might be creating to leave one day for other people. I think a lot of it has to do with your purpose and destiny, and Pluto coming through here is really showing that to get into your purpose and get into your power, and to feel really good with that, there's a deep transformation at foot. And it just so happens that this new moon in Gemini is connecting beautifully to Pluto. So is Uranus, so is Mercury. Pluto's also connected to the North Node, Saturn and Neptune. I mean, what a really great set of influences. So I really think whatever's going on in this week for you, Taurus, is conspiring to open you up and to kind of take out all those bits of like unlove, not love, hatred, disgust, despair, upset, where you are persecuting yourself, so that you can really clean yourself out. And at the time of the new moon, left empty and naked, you're really ready to start building that self-worth. The new moon in Gemini in the 2nd house is absolutely, a new moon in the 2nd house is always about how you are starting a new journey of value, revaluing yourself. And obviously, if you're already revaluing yourself quite well, it can also increase things like your income. So there's this really amazing opportunity for you to repurpose yourself and to feel a lot more confident. So I think that's where that's leading you. It's pretty deep stuff. I feel actually quite calm and not low. I don't feel as buoyant as I usually do when I'm talking about this, because I can really feel this. Anyway, the last thing I really want to talk about, and that is Saturn's move from Pisces and into your 12th house. So I've already mentioned, Venus and Chiron in this part of your chart, but Saturn and Neptune, they're dancing around this point. And I know I've mentioned it before, but I think it's always helpful to have a little nudge, a little reminder. So Neptune's come into this part, this 12th house, which, like I said, is your unconscious mind, the place where you might come to unravel, to take away all the stories and start to unravel them and decide which of these stories are for you and which you can do with losing. Saturn coming through here. And I remember when Saturn went through my 12th house really specifically last time. It was a time when I didn't feel quite so social. It was a time when I was actually pregnant with my first child, and immediately after being pregnant with my first child. So, the pregnancy and the first year, which is a really intense time for a mum. And, I stayed in my own shadows. Obviously, I wasn't sort of in my shadows, but I stayed in my own company. I wasn't really out there. I wasn't really participating in the big outer world. I was really cocooned. I was kind of in a cave. I took myself out a little bit. And so Saturn coming into this, and you can carry on having a normal job and all that normal stuff, but there is a sense of, do you know what? I just want to retreat a little bit. I want to take myself seriously. I want to take my mental health seriously. I want to give myself more of a chance to come to terms with things, to ground. And it also occurred as I was losing the stories about myself. So, obviously when I was pregnant, my body shape was changing every single day. And all of a sudden I was aware that the life that I'd had that far was about to really, really change and re-emerge in a whole new guise. And of course, in the first year, I was still losing the sense of who I'd been up to that point. And so as, Saturn eventually went into my first house, that was a time when I really recognized it was time to get out there again and to be a lot more in the world. And so this is, the start of a journey of taking yourself a lot more seriously. So I really think that this 2-week forecast can help you to understand that, when you pull yourself back a little bit, it doesn't mean to say like your life's falling apart or anything, but it's just that it's time to have a bit of a pit stop, to nurture yourself. And with imagination, Neptune, with imagination and persistence and discipline and discernment, you can really transform your internal landscape, so that it's not full of self-sabotage, but it's actually full of calming new practices. So another great thing that could come of this time is you creating new habits for yourself, like meditation or journaling or writing, or this could be the start of something, a new hobby that this could also create a new career, a new way of earning money. But what I'm seeing here is this kind of new internal look. You're looking inside to find the world. And actually, if you look deep enough, I think you'll find it. So I'm going to leave that there. I hope that was helpful for you, Taurus. Sending you loads of love. And stay connected. Yes. And if I can be of any help at all, if you need a consultation or anything, all of my details are below. I also have a membership, and I create 4 extra forecasts. I don't put out to YouTube, but I give to my membership. There's now actually going to be 2 meetups a month. Plus other things going on and discounts. So if any of that's of interest, just check below and you'll find my details. But anyway, lots and lots of love to you. Take care. Bye for now.